Hello and welcome to day 15. We are at the point of strategy. So I know a lot of you have been waiting for this, and maybe you came with like your money story kind of together and tight, and you've been saying, okay, how do I get to the strategy part? We're here. For some of you, you may be right on target. You got your money stuff together pretty quickly, and you're ready, and this financial strategy is like, let's go. Some of you might be like, strategy, I'm not even sure what I want, and that's okay. So I want to clarify that today we're going to talk about how strategy is going to match your intention and the lifestyle and what you want, and then you can choose. And maybe you're not quite ready. Maybe you're still keeping up with the work. You're in the boot camp style. You're diving deep, but you're not really sure what you want or the lifestyle, or there's some pieces you're working on. That's okay. Sometimes understanding the strategies that you would follow and how they would get you to the different goals that you have is what unlocks for you like the what's next or where do I focus. So don't be afraid to dive into this, even if you haven't gotten a lot of clarity yet. And don't be afraid to give yourself grace to come back to this lesson later as well, if it just doesn't quite click for you yet. So that said, let's talk a little bit about how strategy impacts your decision making. Okay, so one of the things I want to clarify here is this is not the go get rich course. This is about having your money shit together and being able to make empowered decisions in your life with the money that you have and that you have access to. Now, how much do we have access to? Well, that's up to us. We already talked about how powerful the energy and the expectation of money is. But also there is some part of that faith without deeds is dead, right? Or something like that. So without action, without putting something behind it, what is going to help that? And so I don't want you to think of this in terms of effort gives reward. It is not that at all. There's not effort amount that we give and then we are rewarded because we've been good enough, strong enough, contributed enough, significant enough, and all that. This is not what that is. This is recognizing that there's some spark of you, a creator, someone who came to this earth to form, literally into physical form, to create, to make other new things, that we need your spark in it. Those of you who have seen the film Soul, maybe you get that concept of the spark. Like, what is your spark? And we want your spark in it to bring it to life. So in order to do that, often what we do is we go out and say, okay, other people have done this thing. How did they do it? And I want to follow that. Now, I'm all for mentors, but here's what I want to tell you. There is no like one-stop shop when it comes to creating your life. If you find that you're a little bit different than other people, or the average person maybe processes things differently than you do or wants different things than you do, it's highly likely that you also cannot follow any kind of cookie cutter plan. So I want to not teach you a strategy to follow, because that's really only going to help you if you fall into the medium range of the average person. That will help probably a little bit on the outside of weird. If I was going to tell you a strategy to go, you're going to fall on that little side of weird, because I love weirdness and things that go outside the box and challenge the boundaries that we think are our boundaries so that we can find more. But maybe that's not you. You may not be a boundary pusher. You might just want some peace of mind. So let's talk about not what strategy to do, but how to know how to select a strategy and choose what is right for you. So one of the examples I want to leave, that really like offer you, is that in my own life, it's funny because I've been a seeker of like, I was a good student. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to do it right, and I'll do it right. Recognizing that what's going on doesn't quite fit what I'm trying. So trying to take what's right and then make it my own, but still having their constructs. It's been a journey, right? And so I know some of you are going, that's me, trying to figure it out, how to do something new, but trying to apply old models. So the first thing I want you to understand is, what is it that you're trying to create is going to impact the strategy that you follow. If you, for example, want to, you've found something that's a multi-level marketing company, you're really about the product, you love what they're doing, and you really want to go all in on this. So you want to make this your business. Well, your strategy for that is very different than if you want to do something groundbreaking in an area. Say, like for me, I really want to be a catalyst for change and education. So if I want to make something like groundbreaking in that, I can't really follow some other strategy. But if I was following a multi-level marketing company, the weakness is, and this is the problem I found for me, didn't work, because you really need to follow the system. Like that's a time to, the strategy is there's a system, they find a way to make it work, and you follow their system and it works. And if that's what you want, then you would follow that system, right? Sometimes though, and for most of you, and I'm guessing those of you who are following me by now, if you're still hanging in there and enjoying what I have to offer, my guess is you're not really a systems, like you don't want to follow someone else's process. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but most of you probably who follow someone else's process will get bored with me. I don't know. You can tell me. I have no idea how you receive me. But I imagine those of you who are still hanging on, this isn't my story of this, is that you're making a difference in the world. You want to do it differently. You don't want to be held to old standards. You want to do something differently. So the first strategy I would say is if you want something that you've already seen done and you want exactly what you see, do what they're doing. They're getting success. Success leaves clues, right? So follow what you see happening. And those systems can change your life. They can impact your family. You can collect financial wealth from that you can then share with generation after generation. You've changed literally the blueprint of your family and the access that your family has by following someone else's system. And for many people, that's a beautiful strategy. So I want to just really highlight that. Those of you who think, oh, MLMs, they're only bad, just like financial planning is bad, because some people are out there representing things not well. But not everything that comes to you in that business model is done in bad taste. So research for yourself the specific company you're interested in. But if you really want to tap in and follow someone else's system and find that useful in your life to build wealth that you can then invest wisely and grow your family's generational wealth, that's it's not easy. It's work, but it's not complicated. That's a simple way to do that. You focus in on a system that's working, that you've researched and you feel good about, and you move forward with that. But for those of you who are thinking, okay, well, what's my strategy? I don't know what I'm creating. So I want to tap into you about lifestyle and how the strategy needs to impact and will affect your lifestyle and needs to be considered. For example, when you live a life like I do, where, up until this month, I was literally floating for the past few years, moving around, stayed in the same city for a while, but moved around from place to place, kind of trying to wiggle in and get it right. Wasn't sure where I wanted to be in the world, moved all the way to California, had some great times there, came back to do a gig in Florida, and I just was like, what am I doing? Miami's home for me. And I chose a home. So up until just recently, my choices were all about creating flexibility and freedom. So not taking on long-term leases, for example, or not getting into any kind of debt or, buying things that make me have to make payments. So keeping my expenses low. That was important to me because I wanted freedom. Then I felt satisfied and felt like I was ready to settle in, not settle down, never ever settle down, but settle in a little. I am a Taurus, and that part of me is coming forward more than my Leo, Moon, and Rising when it comes to space. And I'm like, you know what? My Leo self, my kitty that wants to go out and play, needs the stability of a home base now. And so recognizing that shift, now my priorities are shifting from flexibility and mobility into how do I create a stable base for me to travel from? And then I can go see the world when that, and it's a good time, right? Because it's not a time to necessarily bounce all around the world, or you can. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not a good time, because it's always a good time. That's a limit. That's a lie. That's all I'll say about that. However, for me personally, it seems like a season of settling in. I found a really great group of people. I have family here, I have community. We're creating powerful things. We're gathering on Sundays and living in love and light and sharing that. And it's reflecting back to us with random strangers walking by on the beach, celebrating life, because we are creating that space to celebrate. So for me now, the intention has shifted from mobility to a little bit stability. Now, stability for me looks different than the average person, because stability, you might say, well, then shouldn't you keep a job? So it's fairly shifted, but I already knew my financial metrics that could offer some stability, where I wanted to be, actually signed a lease, so I'm staying put for a little while. That's my new financial strategy, is looking at things more from where could I stay for a while. And one of the reasons for that strategy change is because as you change your priorities, so I want to remind you as you go back to, and I'm not going to play for you guys today, she's a little out of tune. We're still moving and I haven't really been playing with Ivy, but we're going to get her, before these lives are done, I will give you what I've got, which isn't a lot, but we're getting there. And I made a decision in 2020 that I'm committed to learning the guitar, and I'm finding that the mobile life doesn't work for me because she's usually in a case and like you have to think and get her out. And my strategy was to play 10 minutes a day most days. So I'm going to use the analogy here of Ivy, just so you can get a little view of her. Well, isn't she beautiful? My dad got this for me for my birthday last year. And so a couple of things that were happening. First of all, I wasn't picking her up every day as planned because I was moving, and like when you don't have a solid space, there's no system, right? And for me to get any kind of consistency, that's something that my always work is, how do you become more consistent? I do great things all the time, but not consistently. So now consistency is important to me. So one of the reasons is because I really, really, really want to pick up this guitar and be able to play a song for you, and you can sing along and we share this moment. As of now, I'm still learning chords, and I could play for you a chord, but they're not going to sound good because she's out of tune. So I will, but I actually am willing to share it in this way because I want you to see the imperfections, how they're so beautiful. And we're moving forward in a learning journey together. You're learning money, I'm learning guitar. And so don't expect this is something that you figure out overnight. Just like guitar, it's about behaviors and practices. And so what I learned is two things. Number one, I needed stability. And then once I started to build stability for myself, I had an opportunity to sit with someone who teaches and plays beautifully guitar, my friend Jerry. Shout out, Jerry, if you ever see this. And he said, oh yeah, if you really want guitar, you need to give an hour a day. So I said, okay, here's where I am in my life right now. Probably through April, I'm not going to be able to give an hour a day. So it's okay. I'm on pause. Grace, right, in the journey, but also recognizing that one of the driving forces in my life are there's some skills I want to pick up. And what do I need to achieve that skill? So see where I'm going. What do I want? So this is where I ask you to, maybe you'll come back and forth to this because what you want may evolve. So what do you want from something? And then you're going to choose your strategy that matches what you want. And so don't worry, the activity sheets today are going to help you kind of identify, brainstorm and pull those out of yourself and then identify what's best for you. So for me, I want a guitar. That's my goal. My strategy is, I first observed, my strategy was I'm going to play 10 minutes a day, and that's not happening. I'm not doing the work and it's not progressing what's happening. Pick up consistency. I need stability. Then it was, Jerry said, an hour a day. If you really want this, Crystal, you got to go an hour a day. And I said, noted. So starting in May, when this challenge is complete on my end, and I have, support, I've given the challenge for the April Financial Literacy Month, then I move on. And then that hour a day, it's taking much more than that, but the hour a day I'm spending with you will now be spent with her. And we're going to learn how to play guitar for you. So this is going to happen for me in my journey, not because I want guitar, but because first I said, hey, Dad, he keeps asking me, what do you want for this gift and that gift? And what do I need? My life is amazing. I don't need much. But my dad was the first guitar player in my life, and he was an old country church goer, preacher, preaching and singing, and again, sharing the light and love. For him, it was about Jesus, and I love Jesus so much. But I just want whatever that is for you. My dad's still singing and doing his gospel songs, and I love gospel songs. They're so beautiful, and I want to bring that love and that light and that connection forward. And so I said guitar. A guitar would, for me, represent learning a way that no matter what you're doing, just face it, guys. You start singing, what happens? People get happy. People sing along if they know the songs. So I want to learn some sing-along songs. And so that desire began to form a strategy that led me to want more stability in my life for where I stay, staying, like having a stable home. And then to say, okay, well, I'm going to give my time an hour a day. So the time, that's my task or my behavior, right? So we talked about behaviors. My behavior is going to be to give, starting in May, an hour a day. Thank you, Jerry. And so we just keep moving forward on our goals. So as you begin to think about your financial goals and what you want, I want you to think first and foremost, what is the intention that you have for whatever you're trying to create? Not like I want $5,000 or I want $1 million. Like, why? What are you doing? What is the intention? What are you looking to do? And then the strategy that you choose needs to match a couple of things. What your intention is. Are you going to achieve the goal? And then does it match your lifestyle? For example, I didn't go in on April with the hour a day. I learned it this month, but I'm not committing to that yet because I know what else is going on in my life and other transitions. So find a strategy that makes sense for where you are in your lifestyle. And then I really urge you, and I have people all the time like, why don't you do private coaching one-on-one? And like, if you guys need help, I'm here for you. If you really need consistent support, then we can talk about that. But my goal isn't to get you hooked on me in a one-on-one way, but it's to teach you to implement the strategies. And often that's done best in group. So why don't I do the one-on-one too much? Because I really don't want to get up and have my whole day about other people. I'm kind of selfish like that. I like to create when I feel the wave of creation. I like to give when I'm available to give. And when I'm not feeling it, I really don't like to wake up and go, oh, I have four, I did the coaching thing. And I was like, I don't really want to get up and have like 4 other people who need me today. And that, like, my responsibility is to that individual. I really like to do it in flow. So that is an important piece of that for me, that, if I ever take on a one-on-one client, it's for a specified amount of time. We have a specified goal. I don't do more than 4 of those ever at a time, because then, 4 calls a week is fine for me. 1 a day, I got you. All day or 1 day a week, sure. So it's just about coming to the truth of where you are. And I also recognize that my gifts shine forth the best in group, because I'm able to pull the synergy of the different individuals in the room, and somehow we just get really far. So recognizing your gifts and talents and how you want them to show up in the world, and then what you want your life to look like. Those are the things you want to think about when you're choosing your strategy. And so your financial strategy, if you want stability and safety, I'm going to do something totally different with you, for example, than if you wanted like growth and you're okay with some risk because you really want to see what you can do, and maybe you have some play money. And if this is your savings for a specific plan, we're going to save it very differently than if it's a savings for something you're looking to grow and earn. So those are the kinds of things I want you to think about when you're diving into strategy. What is my intention for this goal that I have? And then what do I want my lifestyle to be like? What am I willing to contribute, right? So what am I willing to give in this time for this particular goal? What's it going to take for me? Be really clear on that. Is it going to take time? And not everything just costs money. It's also costing your time. It could cost your energy. Remember, how much energy do I have to give in a day? And what portion of that energy does this project take? And so you begin to look at all of these in terms of strategy, that it fits all those components of your life. Because I can tell you, I know so many people who have tons of money flowing, but they're scrambling everywhere because it's going, it's such a busy time that they can't just take a moment and have the lifestyle they want, and they're busy scrambling from this, that, and the other. And, this is across the world, not just in the US, that I know these situations. And it's not judgment around it, it's recognition. Right? So if you're in that juggling and oh my gosh, and and how am I making this much money and feeling this broke? I hear people say that a lot. If you're in that cycle with it and you don't want to be, let's change your strategy. I'm going to let that sink in. If you're in a cycle, and that it doesn't even matter, it doesn't have to be the cycle I described. But if you are experiencing a financial pattern that you do not want, you get to choose and you get to change the strategy. Now, what strategy that is going to depend on where you are in that journey. And so that's where you can reach out to our team. Either I will have someone on our team who can support you. I do keep financial planners and advisors always on tap, good friends of mine from years, so that I know and trust them. And I can get you to people who can help you and to build the right strategy for you. If you're seeing this early on and my calendar has not filled up because it's kind of filling up quickly lately, if you see this and there's space in the calendar, I'm happy to have a conversation with you about how either I can help you or someone else can help you. Don't try to do it alone, but don't be afraid to do it wrong, because as long as you're moving forward, we can get you there and reach out for help as you go. So changing the strategy from 10 minutes a day to an hour a day sometimes is going to be what it takes to getting what you want. Sometimes it's going to be a tweaking or just matching the strategy. Maybe you have got a great strategy and it's working and you're making all kinds of money, but you don't like what it takes to do that in a day. Let's change the strategy. Let's find another good way. Sorry for those of you who are super religious hearing this, but for me, there's no one way. I love Jesus. Like I said, I grew up with Jesus. I feel like literally what a friend we have in Jesus, but I do not feel like Jesus is the only way. And I'm just going to be honest about that. And it's a pretty freaking awesome way. But do I believe that the energy of bliss and love and light is trapped from someone because they didn't find the right door? I truly don't. I don't. And so for me, it's the same thing with life. There's no one strategy, no one way to get where you want to go. What's really important is that you find a strategy that matches who you are and what you want from your life. And then, we're thinking of this in the short term and the long term. What do you want to give and how do you want to receive? And we make sure that strategy matches on all those counts. So as you go through this lesson today and start thinking about what you want and what strategies you will use to get there, give us a shout out, #money-challenge. Tell us what you've uncovered. And if you have a strategy you want to share with the world, like, hey guys, I realize this is what I'm doing now. Tell us all about it. But don't forget, never cast your pearls before swine. So if that strategy is tender with you, just #money-challenge. I got it. Something like that, right? Tell us that you got something, but it's okay to hold the what. It is sacred until you're ready to shout it out to the world too. But let us know your transformations. I love you guys. I know. It's like this girl keeps telling me to go deeper and go deeper. And yes, we're going to keep going deeper. But however deep you build down into your foundation determines how high you can build up into your skyscraper. So don't forget to keep digging. Go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. What would it take for you today to actually begin living the life you want? You guys, I didn't retire myself because I followed a strategy to get to $40 million and then I can retire, or some millions of dollars to retire. Followed a strategy that said, hey, I have some part-time income that's pretty steady and I have some available reserves and I can make this work. And I could go for however long, probably indefinitely, but at least 2 years if nothing went right? So you've got to know your numbers and just choose your strategy based on what you want. And for me, freedom was more important, right? Stability's here, and then the freedom to create as I wish was way more important to me than banking up more and more and more money, which would be awesome to keep banking up that money. And I invite the universe to bring that in. And I knew what's important to me. And what I can tell you is I've been blessed more from the being who I am, like following my own stuff, my Paid to Be Me program I offer. I've been blessed more from just shining of who I am than I ever was when I was trying to chase down the right way to say things to help people. So just shine on as you, baby, and let whoever you are and whatever that light is inside of you, let that light be what drives your strategy. See that light? I see it. It's inside of you. It's inside of me. It's shining bright. Let it out. Let it out. Let your light shine. I will see you tomorrow.